Right, everybody, welcome.
Thank you.
And happy Africa Day to all of you. Today is the 57th anniversary of Africa Day. And as Female Wave of Change, we just thought it is a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to celebrate this day together. Wherever you are and however you have celebrated today, we hope that it has, you were able to get back to remembering who we are as Africans. And we know that the diversity that brings us together as Africans is really what gives us strength as a continent. Before we go on with the session, may I just check, we will be recording this session. Is there anybody who objects to us recording the session? No? Okay, thank you. So this session will be recorded, and after the session, it will then be made available on the Female Wave of Change YouTube platform. And some of you are here for the first time and wondering, who are these people and why did these ladies invite us to this session today? Female Wave of Change is a global movement that unites women that are changing the world into a better place. The organization was the brainchild of Ingun and Marianne, who are based in the Netherlands, and it was launched in January 2017. We are so far represented in over 35 countries in the world, and we continue to grow with the representation. What is it that we really want to achieve as Female Wave of Change? We really want to bring women from all walks of life who want to take responsibility for their own future, the future of the next generation, and the future of the world. And currently, as we're dealing with COVID-19, it becomes even more important that the energy and the values that the feminine side or the feminine people bring into the space become even more visible. We really showcase who we are as women. We showcase how our uniqueness and the way we look at life differently from our men or people who practice, masculinity. We are able to showcase that to the world. Female Wave of Change offers women a safe place where they can be their authentic self, be economically empowered, and grow into change makers who shape the world. Since the inception of Female Wave of Change in 2017, we have seen so many women that have come into the space to be able to support and want to showcase their diversity and who they are and what they are about. In September 2019, we were very proud and really honored to have hosted the first Global Female Wave of Change conference that took place here in Johannesburg, South Africa. We had over 120 women from all over the world. And when I say all over the world, I mean all over the world that came to attend the session. It was really a successful session, and we were able to also bring a call to action, really asking women to bring up their authentic selves, whether it is in the home or in the workplace or in the community or wherever they are that they're taking a leadership space. That those voices that they have, they don't keep them quiet. They showcase them because it's in the way that they look at life differently that they're able to add to the voice of making this a better world for all. Today, we are honored to be joined by the ambassadors of Female Wave of Change from our sister countries in Africa as we celebrate Africa Day. We will be joined today by the ambassador of Female Wave of Change in Nigeria, the ambassador of Female Wave of Change in Kenya, our board member, our new board member, who is based in Zimbabwe, who will also be joining us. And we'll also be joined by one of our Wavemakers who's based here in South Africa. And more importantly, we'll also be joined by a lady who is part of the Circle of Wise Women. Because what we have recognized is that for us to be able to move forward, it's also important that we take in the knowledge of those who have been ahead of us. And they guide us as we continue to grow this organization, and we make sure, you know, that we bring that feminine energy and those feminine values as we continue. So before we go on to engage with our first speaker, just some housekeeping rules. We would like to request everybody that is online but will not be talking to ensure that their microphones are on mute. That way it does not disturb the person that is going to be presenting. Really, the purpose for us today is to make sure that the voices of the women in Africa are heard. And hopefully we are also able to hear about the changes and the energy that they have brought in their environments and that they are hoping to bring as we go forward in their environments. Our session will go on until 8 o'clock tonight, wherever you are. I know that in Nigeria it's 6 p.m. So it will go until 7, and in Kenya it's 8 p.m. So we'll be concluding at 9 p.m. Asmau, I just want to check with you. Are you ready for me? Unmute.
All right. Good evening, good evening, everyone. I'm here glad to be here with us this evening. Good evening, Africa. And I want to be sharing my experience and the experience of all Nigerians based on the topic given to me by the organized COVID-19. And I tag my presentation, the Nigerian experience. Some few months ago, like precisely 2 months ago, the President of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, inaugurated what we term the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. And the mandate of the Presidential Task Force is to put in place intergovernmental structures in order to respond to the plight of those affected by COVID-19, and also for institutional response and intervention. And subsequently, other states also. Initially, it started by just putting up a kind of mandatory lockdown on 3 states, the major states, but eventually it spread. To share with you and to tell you that Nigeria is a huge country. We are over 200 million people. So the lockdown in Nigeria did not just start in just like every state at the same time. It started in beats and in phases. And so some of the effects of the COVID-19 started with social distancing. Nigeria is a very social country, and we are, hello, are you with me?
Asmau, we are with you.
Like I said, Nigeria, hello?
Go ahead.
Hello. Oh, okay. It started with the issue of social distancing during the lockdown. The decree that was given by the president, or rather the instructions given by the president and the government of the day, is that people should observe social distancing. And we know, as a nature in Africa, we always have reverence for our family unit. Everybody wants to stay in a homogeneous family setting. Nobody wants to be isolated. And so the challenge that is what we call Owambe, and it is something that happens almost weekly. There we have weddings, we have parties, we always go to visit. We use the weekends to socialize a lot with friends and families. So one of the major effects of the social down and social family structure. Most people cannot go to because there was a ban on interstate travels, and most people leave their parents, their siblings in the villages, and they stay in the city. So instead of going to see your relations, you are restricted to where you are, and you not move out. And that's also, like I said, distorted the social support system. Because in Nigeria, we depend so much on our family members to give us a shoulder to lean on, because there are a lot of issues Nigerians are going through. We have the issue of insurgency, kidnapping, violence against women and children, so many issues. And so you need the family for a form of support. And also, especially those that are infected and those that are sick, the issue of self-quarantining is an entirely serious issue for us, because people that are used to staying together, it's not easy for you to self-isolate. So that was what even brought about the issue of the high spread of the virus, because most people find it very hard to self-quarantine themselves even when they are infected with the virus. And the issue of mental health and psychosocial support, most of the families that have infected people within their settings, they don't like to open up and accept the fact that they were infected. So they give it a name, maybe sometimes a spiritual connotation, that it is a spiritual attack, it is witchcraft, it is pneumonia. And so people do not want to own up that they are infected, so that their families cannot be stigmatized, so that they don't get stigmatized or discriminated within the community. And I also want to look at government intervention. The Nigerian government has done so much in terms of the response, but then it's one thing to do so much, and it's another thing for it to be effective and for the people, the citizens, to feel the impact of what the government is doing. There are a lot of policy reforms. The health sector in Nigeria has been in a total decay. Why am I saying this? A lot of our health sectors, is a known fact that our leaders, the politicians, always run outside. When they are sick, they go out, they don't even, they and their families, they don't even patronize the local health centers within the country. But one good thing that this COVID-19 has brought is that all international borders were closed. So whether you have the money, you have the resources, you can't go out of the country. So that in itself is a lesson that our leaders had to learn the hard way, that we have to learn to build the health system, to strengthen the health system, so that in case of the repeat of such a pandemic of this magnitude, they'll be able to patronize our own health care centers. Some time ago, a highly placed government official died from the COVID-19. May his soul rest in peace. But that was like a wake-up call to the Nigerian government to look at issues bothering around the health sector and all the reforms. And the policy reforms also had to do with the issue of the economy. Nigeria had a budget. Our budget was cut down so that we can fit into the context of the present reality. Nigeria is an national market drastically, and so the 2020 budget has to be streamlined to fit into that reality. And also, it helps the government. It has also had to check the government to be proactive in their approach. Before now, when there are issues, especially if Nigeria is a country that is battling with security issues, peace and security issues, but they can use this effectiveness in the response to COVID-19 to also look at other sectors like the security sector. It will be nice, because because we saw how the government came out at all levels, both at the national level, state level, the local level, response into us, not just to fight the virus, but to also fight other underlying issues like poverty, inequality, security issues, insurgency, and others. Then there's also this issue of reduction in the government dependency on foreign support. Nigeria started looking inward. The rich people within Nigeria started donating towards the COVID-19 response, which also to us is a good initiative and a welcome idea. There was also a reconstruction, like I said, and renovation of our dilapidated health facilities. Now, there's again the provision of palliatives to poor households and cash-based transfers. So, but this has not also come without its own challenges and criticism, especially from the civil society sector, because to them, it's not transparent. It is not also really the poorest of the poor in Nigeria. And there's this issue of homegrown feeding. Children are at home, they are not in school, but the government is claiming they want to give such support to children. So they go from house to house. And this I belong to, which we set up these spendings of government and other donors that have put into the basket with the pool fund for the response to COVID-19 in Nigeria. And also another government intervention that is critical is the financial institution support to small and medium enterprises. And then I looked at the economic impacts. Because of time, I have to be rushing through my slide. Please forgive me. And then the economic impact, which has to do, like I talked about, the issue of the drop in the oil price in the international market, which led to the cut in our budget. And we identified that there are also a lot of informal employment sector is being occupied, most of the workers in Nigeria. And we discovered that this lockdown had a serious effect on their well-being. The hardship was so much on men and women who daily subsistence, especially the urban poor dwellers who work as street vendors, as construction workers, and also as food vendors. These are people that go to the market and they feed from hand to mouth. So with the lockdown, they couldn't access their businesses. And that also further caused a lot of hardship and suffering within the poor families in some of our communities in Nigeria. Because we understand that, yeah, please, I'm with you.
Can I just, so, I mean, I hear that, you know, the lockdown has really affected a lot of, you know, areas. Maybe just quickly, how has it impacted on women and women-led families and businesses?
Okay, thank you very much. A lot of women, like I said, most of the informal economic sector is being dominated by women. Close to 80% of this is dominated by women. And these women have dependents. They are the caregivers in their families. They are the mothers. They are also the breadwinners. In most of the families, we discover that even those that have husbands are those that are also the breadwinners. So they usually go out from time to time to get this money to feed the family. But with the lockdown, they couldn't access market. So they couldn't take care of the family. And that further degenerates into domestic violence, because the men are used to, some of the men are used to sitting back home, expecting the women to bring back something for them to feed on, especially in the rural communities or within the poor urban settings. So they could not be able to meet up, the women couldn't meet up. So there was a high rise of domestic. Many women were exposed to crime, because within the community, because of the lockdown, there was theft, a high rate of theft, criminality. And so most women were exposed to rape, were exposed to theft. So even the little they had at home, other people came, like those, the thieves came and took it away from them. So it really, you know, impacted on their well-being. And children, before now, some of the communities, they always let their children go out to also fend for the family, to assist. But now schools are shut down, locked down, nobody can move out. So the children cannot even assist the mothers to also fend for the family. So
okay. I want to be able to
see people, especially the elderly.
Yeah. Okay. I want to be able to, a couple of questions that I'd like to leave with you so that I can move over to Odi. What is it that you see, you know, as female wave of change, we can be able to do in Nigeria, but also in your capacity as the head of women and, you know, the community, ensuring that there's development of women in Nigeria? What are you guys doing, and how can we ensure that, you know, we are able to protect the female-headed families and the children. But let me leave that with you for now, because I'd like to move over to Odi. Odi, are you with us in Zimbabwe? And also hear what has been happening, but also you have such a positive message. I mean, now we've just had the reality of the impact of COVID on 2 billion people, right? This is not a small number in Nigeria. But if you think about Zimbabwe,
2 million.
you know, so
million.
that's really a lot of people, you know, that are being impacted by this. But you have a positive message for us, Odi, that you want to give. And for those of you who are members of Female Wave of Change, I'd like to introduce Odi, our next speaker, who recently joined Female Wave of Change. And she has also recently taken over the role of being the female, the Africa representative in the board of Female Wave of Change in Africa. Whilst Odi is also coming on, I also just want to encourage you, if you have any questions for any of our speakers, do use our chat box, type in your questions there, and just before we end the session, we'll go back to addressing those sessions. Odi, over to you.
Thank you. Greetings from Zimbabwe, everyone. We are still on lockdown. Unfortunately, in Zimbabwe, it's been extended indefinitely, and some sectors of the economy are heavily affected. That's the tourism. Definitely, it's a zero for now. Those in events, those in training, those who deal with people in groups, definitely for now we are on lockdown. But that doesn't stop people from having food on the table, because the lockdown is there. And this COVID-19 has brought people, they've come up with a lot of innovations for them to survive. For example, churches, they are not happening, but pastors are meeting in church, the husband and the wife with their children. Then they do a sermon and share with the people. And they also use the online platform, money platforms, for people to pay their tithing and their weekly offerings, so that the pastors survive. We also have people who are into training. They still do some online training as a test to test the water, how deep it is. Even those in events, they've come up with innovative ways where a family celebrates a birthday. They then get checked to see whether they are not carriers of the coronavirus. Then they go and set up, and an event is done. Someone gets a little bit, but there's food on the table. What COVID-19 has done to Zimbabweans, which is a plus, is there is love and oneness that has brought us so much closer to each other. Because where you have seen people are suffering, especially in the high density suburbs, where people really depended on selling from their gates and or from the markets, and they cannot do it. Those who can afford, they've come together, gone to those areas, donate food every month, enough for a family to run for the woman. Some have even started small projects for those people so that they survive. And that love, I wish even after COVID, it should continue, because we have seen so many groups being formed so that people are informed of what is happening. And for women, what I've seen, the resilience is they've not let down their families. You have seen that, we've seen that where Odilene is selling eggs for $2, Yaukai will buy those eggs for $2 and sell to the next person for $2.50, and she earns the 50 cents. Then that other person also sells to the other person for $3, and we've been surviving through that. We also thank our government. They've also come in heavily, especially for rural areas, in terms of looking after them, donating food and all the requirements that is needed. And we have seen the upgrade of our medical facilities. which have been on the dying side. But now, I think after COVID, one country will be so proud of their medical centers, which have been upgraded. And, you know, we have universities, a lot of them in Zimbabwe. They've been concentrating more on academic and ignoring the other sector. But as soon as this COVID thing came and the government announced that we needed gloves, we needed masks and sanitizers and all this, the universities then started producing them, which is the part which they were ignoring. And this COVID, instead, yeah, of course, there are some people who died, which is a bad thing for the COVID. But to us, it was an eye-opener. It moved us from the comfort zone where we were. Even those who were in employment, they learned that there is need for a side thing to do, even if you get your salary. And it was because of this COVID thing. And also, you know, when things happen to us, I always say God's plans are always in place. God wanted Zimbabweans to open eyes and not just rely on importing things from China and other countries, but also to, you know, be innovative, think, come up with ideas, and grow our manufacturing industry, which I think after this COVID or after the lockdown, Zimbabwe will be very good for producing anything. I think that's all I have to share with you.
Wow, Odi, thank you so much for that. I think for me, the key message is, you know, on the one hand, we know that there are the challenges that COVID is bringing, but what I'm liking is also how you're talking around the innovativeness of people, the fact that as women who are even having small businesses, just selling 2x from one to the next, they are ensuring that there is inclusivity and that everybody has some little amount so that they can be able to you know, to move on and be able to support their families. We would love, I think Africa would really love to see, you know, the Zimbabwe's manufacturing, you know, community coming out strong. But more importantly for me is that when that comes out strong, the opportunities are there even for women, you know, to be the ones that are in that manufacturing space. You are absolutely correct that I think for all of us that are here, what COVID has shown is that having one source of income is not enough. Mm-hmm. Because when that one source of income disappears, you know, it creates all sorts of, you know, challenges that people are having. And I know that women, wherever they are always looking for opportunities, you know, to be doing more, to be doing, you know, different things. For some of us who are young, it might take us to the way our mothers used to do things. I mean, in South Africa, we've always had stock fails, you know? Here's an opportunity to go to stock fails. I don't know what they are called in your countries, but remember those, you know, opportunities that our mothers used to always take 2 rand every month and meet with the other ladies. Maybe we need to be going back to that, you know? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Regina, so we've heard from Nigeria that it is a challenge. People are being challenged in terms of how they are thinking and they're doing things. We're hearing about some innovation and different ways that people are looking at things in Zimbabwe. What is happening in Kenya? Tell us, my sister. So Regina is our ambassador for Kenya. And I want to hear, we'll be hearing from her now. Let me know if you want me to show your slides, and then I can quickly just make sure that it's up.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's see if I can, there we are. And share.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Regina.
Regina, are you able to see the slide?
Yes, but you gave us the last one.
The last one?
You gave us the last one. We need the first.
Oh, apologies, my love.
Okay. Oh, yes. So my name is Regina. I'm one of the ambassadors in Kenya for Female Wave of Change. And I will not share more of what is happening in Kenya, but currently we are on a very mild lockdown. That is a cessation of movement, but people are still doing their businesses, those who are able to, but in a very slow motion. There is no movement between 7 p.m. in the evening and 5 a.m. in the morning. Some people are still going to the office, others are not able to go to the office. We are at a state where the curve is not flattening, and we are getting more cases than we have before. But we are hopeful, and as a country, we are doing the best that we can. But despite that, what I want to share with you today is Tebello, the second slide. It's what our both Kenyan and African mothers are doing, not only mothers, but even men, to counter the situation. Sorry for this, because Tebello, there were more photos. I don't know where they went, but it's okay. There were three of them. There were three of them. So what I had done with this slide, I had put some photos of some African artists, and these were African mothers and African women, to show that women from different parts of this continent are contributing to easing the effect of COVID-19 by playing music so that people can relax from the many cases we are hearing every day. You know, like in Kenya, almost every day there's, you know, one person fatality, there is the increase in numbers. And so what we've seen is that people are coming together and doing choirs. Others are just sharing inspirational message through music. And if you've been following what is happening in terms of music in the world, there's this song that is being sung by almost the world. It's called The Blessing. It's been sung by various countries in the world. And what the message they are sending is that we are blessed as we get out, as we go out, as we come in. It's sort of a Christian song, but it passes a message that affects, impacts everyone in terms of encouraging us to continue in this situation and just do our best. And when I was looking for this music, I came across, what is her name? Angelina Kidjo from Benin, and this lady from Nigeria. I had put their photos, but they're not here. They've done a collabo together to an African song, and it was done in Kenya around March. And that song, I found it very encouraging. And if they can come up together during such times, of course, I think they met before, but the song was released in March when COVID was already here with us. If they can come together and release such a song during this period of time, then the message they're sending to the world is that we are together, don't give up, we will overcome this. And so what I can encourage you even after this is just to check out some of this music. It's really encouraging music. And with that, I would go to the next one, then I can play some music for you later. So the next one, I thought of African herbs. And the way, I remember when I was young, if I got cut somewhere, my grandmother would just go to the forest or the nearby bush and cut some trees and put some medicine, some liquid on the wood, and it will, you know, it will come together. It will close up after some time. And so I thought, what is happening in Africa during this period of COVID-19 in terms of healing from COVID or preventing COVID? And although some medication that has been found, like in Madagascar, it's not confirmed, but just imagine what would become of Africa today if that medicine was confirmed to be able to prevent or to heal not only COVID, but such other common colds that may come. I mean, that would place Africa where Africa should be, because I mean, Africa is so powerful, but the stories that we hear about Africa and from Africa really sometimes put us at the bottom. But with the kind of stories we are hearing now that, you know, Africans are developing this and that, it's a plus for us Africans. And so to celebrate Africa Day today, I thought it's good that we celebrate these good things that are happening in our continent. And the messages we are getting from our mothers like myself, and what I'm hearing from our grandmothers, is that we need to give our children, you know, give them that orange juice. Let them take more juice from oranges. Let them take, we call it dawa, where you mix some honey and some ginger, give it to them. This will help their bodies and prevent common colds. It will prevent even, it may prevent COVID, it's not confirmed, but it can prevent you getting some of these colds. So then I choose to celebrate my Africa that way, that we have things, we have herbs, we have medicinal value in our plants that can help prevent not only COVID, but other diseases out there. And with that, Tebello, if you allow me, I wanted to play, because I know it was 5 minutes, I wanted to play some slow African music for us, just for a minute.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you. Maybe you can close the
Okay.
Yes, that's then I can, okay, there.
Seems you are the only one who can hear it.
Oh, you cannot?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, well, let's see. Maybe towards the end, we'll see how we can do that together. So,
Okay.
Regina, thank you so much. I think what you've highlighted for me is so important, that all of us here, young women, older women, there is so much we've learned from our mothers and our grandmothers. You know, the other day I was laughing because I was baking what we call queen's cakes here. I don't know what they are called in the world. And as I tasted them, my grandmother's face just came to me, because it reminded me of the times when I used to be able to bake with her. So there's so many things that we've learned from our mothers and grandmothers. And I think what COVID is teaching us is that we need to be able to go back to those things that we were taught when we were young. Mm-hmm. There are people also during this COVID time who have been dealing with challenges wherever, you know, they are. And some of those have been health challenges. Now you have one, you know, dynamic you're dealing with, and now COVID comes along, and now you have to deal with these two dynamics. I would like to then give an opportunity to Tlaki. Tlaki is Nyantumba. She is a Wavemaker or female wave of change here in South Africa. And Tlaki has been somebody that's come into this organization and been so active and ensured, you know, that she brings her energy with us. So Tlaki, however, Tlaki has a story to share with us, you know, about dealing with two dynamics at the same time. Tlaki, let me hand over to you and you share your story. Unmute.
Unmute myself. Thank you very much, Ambassador Tebello. Hi, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanking all the gentlemen that were able to join us this evening, and embracing the feminine energy that we so much highlight here in Female Wave of Change. Yes, as Ambassador Tebello has just highlighted my journey, and here we are finding ourselves on this beautiful Africa Day, putting us in a place where we have to ask ourselves that, okay, back to square one. For some of us, as she's just mentioned, that I've been dealing with health challenges of some sort. And so I've been reflecting, and I've found myself asking, myself that during this pandemic that is now only not affecting myself as Tlaki, as a person, but affecting the whole world, and Africa being my home as an African child. If I had to sit down with Africa and say to Africa as a person, to him or her, this is how I would encourage you, to deal with this pandemic and to deal with this big challenge, the mountain that is sitting in front of you, and having to face that on a daily basis. You wake up and you sleep, and you wake up and this mountain is still there. So I thought to myself, this is how I would encourage Africa. And this is what I would like to share with you tonight on Africa Day 2020. I thought that the best way that I would like to share would be to share my personal story. And that way one would resonate with it and take it, going forward on a daily basis. That my story began when I was diagnosed with cancer, unfortunately, in 2014. And, being told such news at, I was 40, yeah, I was about to turn, I just turned 40 that year. And I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had to say, okay, now what? What do I do? And what carried me, what sustained me throughout that journey up to now in 2020, having to sit here with you and share, some words of encouragement, was the 4 elements that I chose to and say to myself, Tlaki, this is where do you tap into? What's your strength? Where do you get your strength? And these 4 elements that I would like to share with you will be the element of the first one being the resilience. The element of resilience is the element that speaks of the inner, the strength that is not seen by the naked eye. You cannot see it, but it's there. And all you have to do is for you to tap into that inner strength so that you can be able to face each day and not know how you do it, but it keeps you going on this battlefield called life. Because life is a battlefield. And until something is thrown your way, to know that, okay, where are my armors? Where's my weapons? How do I face this challenge? How do I go into the battlefield? And that's the resilient strength that I'm talking about, that you tap into every day. And with the resilience, you must be having faith. It takes an amount of faith that comes from, the universe itself, to say that, okay, with my faith, how am I going to do this? And your faith is the what sustains you. It sustains you and it carries you when you simply cannot carry yourself. There are days when you find that, okay, now today I cannot do it. But that faith, that mustard seed faith, is the one that carries you when you cannot carry yourself. And with the faith, then you remain hopeful. With faith, you are able to remain hopeful, and with hope, hope gives you the able to see the bright side of the future. You remain hopeful, and as a result, you see beyond the challenges and the circumstances, no matter how dire or how unfavorable the circumstances may be. And that's what we are facing right now in Africa and the whole world. The circumstances are really, really dire and very, very unfavorable. Therefore, and with these 3 above mentioned elements that are talked about, the one of resilience, faith, and hope, the element of tenacity comes to the fore. When you've got those three elements aligned, you find that your spirit of tenacity, your tenacious spirit kicks in. And it's the one element that keeps you that keeps you persistent. You become persistent and you keep on keeping on. You don't give up. That element of tenacity keeps you determined. You become determined to say, okay, if tomorrow comes, then I am going to do this. I will still stay on the battlefield, only if tomorrow comes. And those are the elements that I would like us to arm ourselves with on a daily basis, to say that with these four elements, okay, bring it on. Let's see where it will put us in life. And Africa and the world will surely overcome and come out victorious on the other side of this pandemic that we are facing right now. Thank you so much.
Wow, Tlaki. And when I asked her to come and speak here, she was like, what do you mean? Why are you putting me on the spot? And here she showed us her tenacity, that it doesn't matter, I am going to do it. Tlaki, thank you so much for sharing that message with us. I think that's such a key message, especially with all the challenges that people are facing. And as you said, you've had to deal with having to face the cancer. And I know that a couple of times you've also had to deal with the threat of it coming back. And thankfully, to the universe, to our ancestors, to God, and to everybody that is out there and your angels, it has not come back. But I know that you keep, being resilient. I know your faith is very strong. I know you are very hopeful, even helping some of us when days, get dark, where you're like, hey, wake up, get up. This thing is going to happen. Thank you so, so very much, Tlaki, for that. And we continue to pray and send strength to you and anybody else that is here with us on this session that is having to face, some kind of health challenge. Remember those four elements that Tlaki has given to you. And you can connect, by the way, you can connect with any of us either on WhatsApp, on Facebook, or on LinkedIn, or even on Twitter and Instagram. Any of the speakers are available on those platforms. You are also able to follow us as Female Wave of Change on all those platforms. We are also available there. So join there, follow us, see the work that we are doing, because these amazing ambassadors and amazing women that have spoken so far are doing so much more that you can be able to find on our platform. We are about 10 minutes before the end. If you would allow me, I would like to negotiate that we will continue until 8:10, because I think we've had some very powerful sessions and information that we've had here. I'd like to now take the opportunity to welcome Mom, we call her Mom Yvonne. Yvonne Kgame, to those of you in South Africa, know her as one of the leading ladies in the SABC space, who's also had her own health challenges that she's had to deal with. But she's become such a mother to all of us that when days are dark, when moments are challenging, as she's the first person that we call on to just say, Mom, this is what's happening. And she's able to, talk us through whatever those challenges that we're having. Mom Yvonne Kgame, as I said earlier, is a member of the Circle of Wise Women, which is almost like, an advisory board to the leadership of Female Wave of Change. And together with other ladies, they are able to guide us in terms of what are the things we need to be doing and looking at as Female Wave of Change. Mami Yvonne will share a couple of words with us, but also if you can stay with us until the end, Mami Yvonne will also conduct a meditation session. Because the one thing that we have realized during this pandemic is that all of us, no matter what we are going through, each and every day, you need between 5 and 10 minutes of just connecting with your soul, of connecting with your being, of connecting with your center. So I'd like to just ask that you don't leave the session. As we've said, we'll go until 8:10 so that everybody can be able to enjoy the meditation with us. Ma'am Yvonne, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our beloved ambassador. And good evening, Africa. We so blessed to celebrate 57 years of the establishment of the African Union. And we do know that there has been so much success over the years. So let me then start with gratitude, which is what I believe in. That to be grateful to all those men and women, young and old, past and present, who led us to this moment of grace, who gave us the wisdom, who even sacrificed their own lives so we can have ours. But I've also been observing with so much gratitude and love and compassion how our current leaders in Africa dealt with the challenge of the coronavirus with so much resilience and belief. And we are grateful in South Africa to have our President, Cyril Ramaphosa, our Minister of Health, and the team, and the government, who did something extraordinary for us to even be able to sit here and say, as South Africa, alongside with our continent, Africa, we've been resilient. These are the things that stood out for me. They allowed ancient wisdom to arise. And when we look at where we come from, how most of our countries and even our country was liberated, it emerged from the power of belief. You know, when I was a young child listening to that mantra, to that chant, that amandla ngawethu, maibuye i-Africa, or whether ujama or uhuru, or even those who would fly the handkerchief just to give us that strength that there is hope, things will be better. Over and above that, I think our leaders, especially here in South Africa, they showed up. They owned this journey that was going to liberate us from the pain. And for me, they did 3 outstanding things. There was very clear communication. We know everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the things that are working and those that are not working. But also the strategy to lock us down needs to be celebrated, because it gave not only the government to scan the environment and understand where we are, but us as individuals and as families, it gave us time to reflect. Inclusion is also what stood out for me, and that helped us to be resilient, that, you know what, we cannot do this alone. Let's engage the world. Let's engage the continent. Let's bring everyone on board. The workers, business people who invested in making sure that at least there is a budget for us, but also they understood that, you know, there is power in women. Our country needs to be applauded because we even have a ministry for women. And our president is on point with gender equality. And the last thing that really gave me the power and the hope was the humility and the listening integrity that our president and our country's leadership has, to say, let everyone show up, let's hear your voice. What do you have to say? What strength do you have? What can you contribute? And as we contribute, we see things manifesting and the ideas becoming real. Over and above that, the courage and the wisdom to say intercession works. When we pray together, when we meditate, and when we become still, answers come. I drew strength from my own journey, as Tebello said, that almost 14 years ago, I was declared terminal because of a very complex brain tumor, which also led to a double stroke in a body that was already so frail with so many diseases and other ailments. And when you find yourself in that moment, that the science that you believed in, the medical fraternity that you believe in, say to you with love, go home, we are unable to help, and this might be the end of the road. I was blessed to meet great teachers who taught me the power of prayer and the power of meditation. And today, I'm here with you, sharing my story, which was not by my own strength and wisdom, but it came from that stillness. You know, when we pray, God listens to our prayers, but when we become still, we can hear, we can be guided, we can be given every step to walk the journey. So it is that came up for me that, you know, as Africans, we've understood over centuries that there is power in unity, there is power in inclusion, and that for us to be free, the inner voice needs to be free. So that's what I think for me were the outstanding lessons that I think gave us that blessing that we are still here, that let us trust, let us believe, let us work together, and let us know that we don't have all the answers. But if we open our hearts and our minds to listen with integrity and to embrace each other's gift and talents and strength, then together we'll be free. Yes, we are politically free on the continent. We're working hard for our economic freedom. But the gift that I'd like to share today is that the psyche needs to be free as well. Our inner world needs to be free, because when we are peaceful, when we are in harmony in our thoughts, what we say, what we do, what we feel, and what is inside us, then it vibrates positive energy. And that's what inspires everlasting change. So that's what I wanted us to share today.
Ma'am Yvonne, thank you so much. You always are able to bring the message through. You're always able to remind us that in the midst of the pandemic, we need to be able to take a moment to just stand still and connect with the inner self. Because when we have done that, then we're able to move on and face the challenges, that are coming our way. So I'm going to hand back over to you to lead us through a meditation session.
Okay. Okay, let's all sit comfortably. Make sure that you are relaxed and comfortable, even if your shoes, maybe if they are too tight, you can just loosen them up and see.
Yvonne, can I just disturb you? If you are doing the meditation and you don't want us to see you, you're welcome to switch off your video, but just make sure that you're still able to hear Yvonne as she guides us. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, it should be well. Sit still and focus. Just be here. We need your full presence. In gratitude, counting your blessings and being grateful for the gift of life. And breathe out. Now you can take a deep breath in. Take it deeper and deeper. Feel the love inside you. Being grateful for all those that have guided you in your life, that have set your mind free and given you everything that you need. Pause for a moment. Take a responsibility to liberate yourself from every burden. And be still. In your stillness, make that intention and take the responsibility to free yourself from each and everything that is standing between you and your peace. Be aware of what is revealing itself without resistance. Just be aware. All the sources of your botherations, things that we have inherited, the pain that we've suffered in our journey for liberation, the challenges that we have in our relationships, parenting, and siblings, and growing up. Just being alive. Just be aware, resist nothing. Allow those inner wounds to unveil themselves, to reveal themselves, and be still. Keep calm. All is well. Accept what you're feeling at this moment. Accept what you see, what you hear, and the voice that is talking to you at this moment. And be still. Be present. Just whatever is revealing itself in your conscious mind, in your unconscious mind, and in your subconscious mind. That's what is. Accept and be still and be good. I am aware. I accept what is. I surrender deeply to Source. Just be. Just be. You're not a doer at this moment. Relax. See the light. Feel the power within. Tap into your inner strength. Give it all to Source. Be still. Let go. And as you let go, let your hands feel open. Feel the breeze, the positive vibration and the love and the light as you're sitting still. Keep breathing. Let your body loose and relax. Let that laughter inside you vibrate. Spread the love. Good energy to each and every soul in the world has been waiting for you to feel the love, get the inner strength, to be hopeful that all is well, to believe that these hard moments will pass through. And take another deep breath and hold it and breathe out, releasing all your burdens, body, in mind, and spirit. Forgiving yourself for things you've done to yourself and others, and those that you've not done. Trust life. Feel the goodness in you. Listen to those pains in your heart. Live in your body. Free your mind. Free your soul. Free every cell, every vein, every artery. Go inside your bone marrow and your bones and free every organ. Stay relaxed, in peace. You are peace. I am peace. I am free inside out. Keep calm. Let go of everything. Feel the peace. This is the moment we let go of everything that happened in the past. We worry less about tomorrow. This is the moment. Feel the breeze. Your body, your mind, freeing itself from everything that is not needed. Staying with the positive energy. Believing in yourself and others. Trusting. Being hopeful. Keep breathing. Relax. I am peace. I am free. I am healed. Be in gratitude, trusting, being thankful to prayers, your meditation. has freed you. And as you embrace your free body, mind, and spirit that is free of pain, of doubt, of fear, of uncertainty, of anxiety, is living your body. Embrace the new beginning, the healing begins. And take another deep breath in and breathe out. One more deep breath. Breathe out. Relax in that spirit of gratitude, of hope, and deep faith. In deep surrender. Then it is done, and so be it. And when you're ready, you can come back and center yourself. Open your eyes. Connect.
Thank you. We send messages of gratitude, of peace and healing to you, Ma'am Yvonne, for reminding us that even in the midst of chaos, as human beings, as individuals, as women, as mothers, as aunts, as daughters, as wives, we have the opportunity to take some time and just be still. And in our stillness, we acknowledge the moment that we're in and are reminded that it is only that moment that is important. The past is gone, the future is not guaranteed, but the moment that we are in, the present that we have is the gift that we have. So thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us up to this point. We hope that you have found this to be, just one of those moments where you are able to sit back and as you reflect on your life, as you reflect on the challenges that you have, to be reminded that as human beings and as the human race, we are all in this together. But to be able to survive this, we need each and everyone's energy, positive value, feminine values to be able to get through this. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. And in the motto of Female Wave of Change, let us be reminded of the resilience that we have as women. And for those men that are here, acknowledge and appreciate the resilience of the women that you have in your lives. On behalf of Ingun Ball, the founder of Female Wave of Change, the members of the board of directors of Female Wave of Change, the ambassadors from across the whole world, and especially the ambassadors of Africa, I thank you for your time. I thank you for being part of this session. And all I will say to you is Happy Africa Day, and let's continue to remind the world of who we are as Africans. Thank you, everybody. The light in me sees the light in you. Thank you. Right.
Peace.
And we go. Thanks, Ingun.